I want to cover this top 10 for you pretty quickly, and then we'll go back and we'll go a little bit more in depth into each one. So the first one I think that is most important is the onboard Pro Series building pack IVA. Take it out of the box, plug it in, and you're going to be bedazzled by that whole performance setup capability of this camera. Second most important reason, we bring starlight capability to the mid-tier series, and you know, everybody knows what that starlight capability does. The Bosch is famous for it. Low light color pictures that just are separate from everybody else. The third one, electronic image stabilization. Next one is the intelligent IR. Next, 5-year bumper-to-bumper warranty. NDAA and TAA compliance, that's a big deal for us with the federal market and with a lot of the state and local markets, and even commercial customers are starting to lean on that. Next, I find the true IK10 rating of this camera. The IR versions of the camera, both internal and external, have a built-in microphone. Completely independent streams of video. And finally, I think this is another big one, micro SD card capability. All right, let's go back now and go through my top 10 with a little more detail. So the first one I talked about was the onboard Pro Series Bosch Building Pack IVA. We can upgrade this camera to the other IVA packages optionally. You can buy the license for those and provide those as an add-on to the camera. Those give you a lot more flexibility in perimeter applications, some of the more smart traffic and smart outside environment type things. But there's a couple of packages you can buy for a couple of dollars to add on to these cameras. Both of them are capable of taking those series. I think that is exciting, and again, I can't wait till we get outside and show everybody how easy these things are to set up and how pretty much they work straight out of the box. We talked about starlight. Why is starlight important? I mean, we all know that, but
I mean, starlight. You know, the nice thing with these cameras, because they're starlight, they will see a color image in much lower light environments. But if you get into that environment where you're not sure it's going to get super dark, you can then put the IR, you know, get the camera with IR then at that point. So no matter what your light environment is, these cameras will be able to handle it. So
you brought up IR, so let's talk a little bit about IR and get into the functions that I think really set this camera off from the others when it comes to IR. One of the things is the gasket that completely separates the lighted section of the camera head from the camera module itself, the imager, and that helps with keeping the reflection. So some of the competitive cameras, you can actually see the bright spots around from the IR illuminators, or they get really washed out. You see like this ghosting, all that stuff is fixed and corrected by having this gasket in the bubble.
And besides that, it's a smart IR, or intelligent IR, dynamic IR, people call it. So as objects get closer, you don't get those hot spots. So this way, the infrared illumination is going to be the same strength from far away all the way up close. And you know, no bright spots or hot spots. Also, it's rated out to 45 meters, which is hitting that 150-foot area. So for a dome camera, that's a long distance.
It is. We'll get a look at that tonight when it gets dark outside. The big plan is to kind of compare that starlight capability and then letting the camera get down into that zero light where we get the infrared illuminators on. Let's talk about image stabilization. We talked about this thing having electronic image stabilization. What's that do for us?
Well, it puts us in that environment now that we could put, you know, a camera like this on a bridge, on a pole, in a tunnel, environments where we had to use a pan, tilt, and zoom before, where the cost goes up dramatically because they only had those premium features, which is high cost, because they only had the electronic image stabilization. Now it's actually built into this camera.
Same thing, vibrating poles, parking garages, all those things that you don't really think about until you get a camera there, and then you realize how much that vibration really kind of plays on the thing. So huge plus for this camera to add that feature and bring that to the table in this mid-series. 5-year warranty, we covered that. That's obvious. I mean, getting the thing bumper to bumper, 5-year warranty, that'll be a huge plus for this. We talked about NDAA and TAA. So again, some customers need that, want that. For obvious reasons, for the cybersecurity stuff and for some of the requirements in the federal and state and local space, there's laws that require that to be used. We talked about the true IK10. Tell me what I call a true IK10. Tell me what true IK10 means.
Sure. IK10, A is vandal resistant, but not only do we test it to IK10 hits and things of that nature, but it actually, our camera will still stay working, where a lot of people, they test just the dome or the housing without a camera in it. So they don't care if the camera still works. Where when Bosch tests it, we test it with the camera in to make sure it's still going to work in that environment of an IK10 hit.
Honestly, who cares if the bubble's still intact if the shock load destroys the camera and the camera can't make a picture anymore.
Correct.
Still replacing the camera. So I think that's a big thing, and I call that true IK10, which is a differentiator for our models. The internal microphone in the IR models, we talked a little bit about that earlier. We have that capability to add an external microphone on the interior units and the exterior unit without IR, but that'll add a big plus to the camera. So anybody who's looking to capture audio in their capability, we can do that. Don't forget, if you don't want audio or you can't have audio, we have a key, electronic key, that'll shut that off permanently, and that can't be turned back on in the field. So if you don't want that audio capability, we do have that capability to shut that off completely, and that's a big deal to some of our federal customers and some of the other customers that don't want that audio capability or the audio capability in a camera. Independent video streams, as we know, you could have you have a low speed. Need to have a low speed connection for, let's say, a 5G, 4G type connection for remote monitoring. That could be one stream. You have a stream for a local live view that you wanted to be better resolution and higher frame rate. And then, of course, you can have a separate stream for recording the information. And the last one that I covered was that micro SD card capability. This is something I think that you're going to start seeing a lot more as we bring cameras and customers start to use cameras, and think a little bit about outside the box in terms of maybe connecting to the internet and to the cloud-based services, but also for customers who really are tired of making significant investments all the time in large amounts of storage and the stuff that's associated with connecting to the network and the ongoing cost of operating systems and servers and things like that. All these things kind of weigh in on this micro SD card. The camera is capable of a 2 terabyte micro SD card. We are aware of special SD cards that are up to 1 terabyte. We have them use some customers, and we've got a fair amount of decent track record with them. Buy the right one. They're more expensive than a traditional. If you need some information on that, you can contact us. We'll tell you about it. But 1 terabyte onboard memory, which is commercially widely available, we've got customers who are getting 1080p resolution, 15 IPS for 30 plus days on board the camera on that 1 terabyte. Now remember, that's not recording at a 15 meg bit rate. That's trimming the bit rate down, but maintaining the resolution using the other technology that's built into the Bosch cameras. We can get that great quality picture, 1080p resolution, 15 IPS for 30 plus days on that 1 terabyte card. There's a couple things that are different that are specific to the exterior model. Do you mind covering those?
Sure. So the indoor version is powered PoE, power over Ethernet. The outdoor version does give you some more capabilities. It's PoE, it's 12 volt DC, 24 volt AC. So in a retrofit market where maybe you're getting media converters over fiber or extending Ethernet and you need to power it up locally, you can do that now a lot easier, or in that retrofit market. So the other is, as you said, IK10 for both of them, so vandal resistant, but also the outdoor version is IK10 NEMA 4X, so it can handle a lot more, nasty weather, salt spray, things of that nature that get into it. Also, I guess with all of the IR models, it has an analog output. So if you get into an environment where, believe it or not, still people need analog outputs, maybe for a local monitor. I know in the hospital environment, nurses' stations, prison markets where, again, an operator is there. So instead they don't have to have a decoder or workstation or something like that. They can have a local monitor display then at that point. So it really helps out, even in the retail for public view. So again, very similar these two products are, but again, if your needs need that, special power, outdoor rating, things of that nature, otherwise the indoor version is a great unit, and very few indoor models are IK10 rated.
I think those are the features that set this midline camera off from a lot of the other people that are out there on the market, and Bosch has really got a home run here.
And if you want to see any of this equipment, or you need a bill of material, or just have questions, contact us at support@midchest.com.